Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 10 comic books of the week. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is my top 10 comic books of the week, not a spec list, but a list of what I thought were the 10 strongest and best comic books. Let's get right into it. At number 10, Transformers Beast Wars, number 1. Y'all, this wasn't even really on my radar. I got to give Travis M. a big shout out and station for this one. You know, I've never gotten into the Beast Wars. I think some of the toys and concepts are cool, but I never got into the show, never watched it, didn't know much about the story. This, I think, is a complete kind of like reboot, retelling of the lore. I'm not sure. Let us know in the chat if it is or not. But let me tell you what, this book did not disappoint. It's got a $5.99 price tag. So do a lot of DC books this week, but this one was justified. All one story, all an expertly paced story, amazing artwork, great bombastic coloring, and a really cool twist and take on Transformers. I am 100% going to be watching Beast Wars now. They are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the show, but I was really enamored with this book, and it was one of my biggest surprises of the week. At number 10, Transformers Beast Wars. At number 9, Resonant. Number 7 from Vault Comics. This is written by D.B. Andre. We had him on the show last week. I hope you checked out that chat. If you didn't, you might as well go ahead and check it out when you got a free couple hours to kill. We had a great conversation with him about this book, about his work in general, about pop culture, movies, life, all that kind of jazz. Skylar Patridge doing the absolute best work on her career so far, in my opinion, on this book. I loved the artwork in this. So it's a different artist, but she is totally being welcomed by the colorist Jason Wordie and the letterer Darren Bennett. The team works so well to keep this gritty, textured, loud nature behind Resonant. And David Andre does a great job handling the characters, balancing the family drama with the excitement, with the tension. A really fantastic issue, some really great shots in here of ships in a storm, lots of great references to other works, and just really, really awesome. Resonant. Number 7 is the number 9 pick of the week. At number 8, we've got Venom, number 33, right? Yes, Venom 33. So in King of Black, number 1, Venom kind of took a dive, right? And where did he wind up? We find out in Venom number 31 and 32 and now 33. This was a fantastic issue, and in my opinion, one of the best tie-ins for King in Black yet. First of all, we are dealing with the emotional ramifications. We're dealing with the dramatic resonance and gravity of the situation, at least as far as it goes, mostly towards Eddie Brock. So while King in Black can be this bombastic, crazy kind of thing, in Venom, they get to kind of do a more nuanced approach to the story that actually is capping off everything that's been built up to, all the character work that Cates and company have been doing on Eddie Brock. It all starts coming to a head in these issues, and I think that's a really great parallel to the nonstop action and direness of the main series. But at number 8, we have Venom, number 33. At number 7, we've got Maniac of New York, number 1. This is from Aftershock Comics. It's written by Elliot Kalin, with artwork by Andrea Muti, lettering by Taylor Esposito. I love this book. First of all, the artwork by Andrea Muti. Glorious. Glorious, glorious, glorious. This is the artist of Fearscape. This is the artist of Dark Interlude. This is the artist of the most recent Vlad Dracul book over at Scout Comics. The basic premise is this. You could basically call Maniac of New York like Friday the 13th Part 30. Let's say they never stopped making Friday the 13th movies. Let's say that after Jason Takes Manhattan, there wasn't Jason Goes to Hell, and there wasn't Jason X. Well, at least not yet, right? So what happens if Jason continues to just operate and never be caught? That's what Maniac of New York is. This is dealing with the story years later after all the events of those alleged movies, right? Now, it's not Jason, but it is totally a Jason character. I think they call him Henry or the Maniac or something like that. But I had a lot of fun with this. There's a lot of exposition, a lot of setup. But what I really liked was it is telling the story of the failed strike force, the task force that's been put together, which is like supremely underfunded and understaffed. There's like one person. This has got a new, there's a new leader. She shows up. She's all gung ho, ready to take on this case. She's got a personal attachment to it. And the police and everybody, they just kind of treat it like a joke, right? But Maniac of New York, #1, was a pretty solid premise and a pretty solid way to get into it. But the artwork really set it over the edge and made it arrive at #7 on my top 10 this week. At #6, we've got ManBat, #1 from DC Comics. Not a DC Future State, not a DC Black Label, but a really solid, fun ManBat story that hits on all the common ManBat tropes, the addiction metaphor, the problems with the wife, the arguments with Batman, all that stuff is there. But now it seems like they're promising to tell the final version of this story, because this is a story set before the events of recent issues of Justice League Dark, in which we see him kind of on this road to redemption and all the time in the ManBat form. First, and the other thing is that Sumit Kumar does the artwork in this, and he was the artist on These Savage Shores, which is a fantastic book. So I really like that clean, dynamic style on a Batman book, on ManBat in particular. I thought it did a great job of doing a familiar ManBat story, but putting enough of excitement into it and a little bit more of a promise to kind of be the definitive story, like it will be. But if this continues the pace that it's set in the first issue, I'm really going to enjoy this. At #6, ManBat #1. At #5, we got Strange Academy #8. Back-to-back issues of Strange Academy. We had 7 last week. We have 8 this week, and it's still Humberto Ramos on the artwork. I cannot believe it. This is one of the best mainstream books I've read from Scotty Young. Ramos is really pumping out some top art of his career, I believe. He's been very consistent. This does not feel near as rushed as the last one. It gets back into the whole vibe of the Hogwarts of the Marvel Universe. They're doing classes. They're still focusing on that, but they're doing amazing character work. 8 issues in, and I am so invested in these characters and where they are going and their journey in this book. And I have said, as long as Young and Ramos stay on this book, it's going to be a fantastic read. And for 8 issues solid, it's been the exact same team. What? It's a dream come true. Consistency from Marvel Comics. Strange Academy #8 comes in at #5. At #4, we have Fear Case #1. This was a really, really nifty and cool book. First of all, it's written by Matt Kent. Matt Kent does really cool, mysterious type books that kind of veer a little bit into historical significance and a little bit into some nice emotional significance as well. Fear Case is about the Secret Service. The Secret Service predates the FBI and all that kind of stuff, right? They still have jurisdiction over older cases. So, for instance, there is the Fear Case. There is a package that gets moved from person to person. It's been tracked by the Secret Service since their inception. And it's been tracked even further through history than that. There's a big mysterious thing about this case. And when it shows up, the person who receives it has 3 days to give it to the person they hate, or it will find its way to somebody that they love, right? And by the way, anybody that gets to the Fear Case just completely gets got. It's kind of like The Ring meets National Treasure almost in a way, but this is about a new rookie Secret Service team, and all the rookies, they give them a year to work on this case, and this is about the end of the year for one pair of Secret Service agents, and it's hit a near obsession, and it's really, really cool. The artwork is by Tyler Jenkins, and I really like it. It's got a scratchy, raw, rough, gritty style that really fits the flavor and tone of the story. There's a lot of explaining to do in here, but I found it still very captivating all the way through. Matt Kent is definitely a talent in this industry, and so is Tyler and Hillary Jenkins. At #4, Fear Case, #1. At #3, Future State, Wonder Woman, #2. I am really liking Yara Flor. Very much responding to her in a very positive way. She has her own character and personality that's very distinct from Diana, but she still operates and feels 100% as a Wonder Woman. She fits the tone. I love that they're doing things with other mythologies across the world, including the South American stuff that Yara Flor is more attached to, but still linking it to the more familiar, in America at least, Greek pantheon and mythology. Really loving the artwork by Joelle Jones. She's doing a hell of a job. This story involves Yara Flor going into the underworld, trying to save one of her fallen sisters, and It had a great, fun introduction in the first issue. And in the second issue, it continues that story and it's got a nice light touch. Then it gets really weighty and heavy towards the end of it. And it wraps up. It actually over exceeds its promise from the first issue by really hitting us with some emotional depth on a character that really Joelle Jones has only had 2 issues to really flesh out. But I'm wanting more of this character. I'm excited. Yara Flor, I got her back. Wonder Woman, Future State, number 2, was number 3 of the week. At number 2, Canto 2, Hollow Men, number 5. This is the final issue of the second full-on volume of Canto, and I am loving it. David M. Boer, Drew Zucker, Vittorio Astoni. I'm loving this book. Now, you know that me and Bob from Everything Comics, Bullseye he is, love this book. We've been trying to convince Bueller to read it, and he just isn't having it. But this book strikes at the heart of story. It strikes at the heart of hope and despair. It strikes at the heart of a soul. It is a very simple, easy to follow fairy tale that's got references and homages to Dante's Inferno and to The Wizard of Oz in particular. But it's able to carve out its own identity. It's able to be both charming and deep. It's able to be light and fun, but hit on tones and themes of grief and despair and loss, true loss. There are true consequences in this book, and it really harkens back to some of the best classic young readers fantasy fiction that we've had over the years, whether it's C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, which I'm a big fan of, obviously, the Wizard of Oz stuff by Frank Baum, and other Alice in Wonderland, Harry Potter, things like that. It has high stakes, and fantastic way to wrap up the second volume because it does wrap up the story. It lets the story reach a progression where we're ready to move forward, and it sets up what's to come in a very expertly well done way. Canto 2, The Hollow Man, number 5, at number 2 this week. And at number 1, it's DC Future State's Swamp Thing, number 2. Wow. So Ram V, Mike Perkins, holy crap. I am so freaking excited about this book because, first of all, big Ram V fan here. If you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you pretty much know that. By the way, Jim Chung on the colors, Aditya Bidikar on the lettering. So top-notch talent on this book. And this is the creative team on Swamp Thing going forward. But this does wrap up the Future State story, which is set in the distant future. Most of humanity's been wiped out, and it's about Swamp Thing, who's now kind of lost and alone. Has created a race of swamp people out of bits of himself and bits of his personality, and then they meander on through, and they're looking for humans. And when they find them, this book reaches a beautifully tragic ending that, just like Wonder Woman, way overexceeds the promise of the first issue. I loved the setup on the first issue, but I thought we would not get a nice, tidy wrap-up for it's just a 2-issue series, right? I was not expecting something so resonating, something so tragic, something so beautiful, something so elegant as this, and it was absolutely astonishing, and I'm so excited to see what Ram V and Mike Perkins and company are going to be able to do with their own Swamp Thing book starting in March. So at number 1, we had Future State Swamp Thing. Number 10, let's run through that list one more time. At number 10, Transformers Beast Wars, number 1. At number 9, Resonant, number 7. At number 8, Venom, number 33. At number 7, Maniac of New York, number 1. At number 6, ManBat, number 1. At number 5, Strange Academy, number 8. At number 4, Fear Case, number 1. At number 3, Wonder Woman Future State, number 2. At number 2, Canto 2, The Hollow Man, number 5. And at number 1, Future State Swamp Thing, number 2. So that was my top 10 books of the week. What are you reading? What are you thinking? What's your top 5, top 3, top 1, top 10, top 20? I don't care. What comic books are you reading? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.